Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time, and my name is William Kumwembe. This is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And in the program today, the government faults most of its companies for continually seeking bailout. We speak to some to find out what is the future like, as the government is largely concerned. And also in the program, we speak to one of the country's entrepreneurs in as far as growth and development is concerned in regard to manufacturing and industry. That's inside Business Time. Hello and welcome. This is Business Time, and my name is William Kumwembe. In our main story in the program today, the government has faulted some of its entities for what it calls continually seeking bailout instead of pushing resources into the government. One of the firms is Tobacco Commission, which ironically, a year before last, was one of the very few that gave dividends to the government, but it has since been rated as one of the poorly performing entities. Its chief executive officer is Joseph Chidanti Malunga.
Our operations are based on production, and the production are weather based. You recall last year that instead of having 125 million gauges, we ended up with 85 because the weather was not favorable. I'm sure we all know that it started raining in January, so that is one factor. The second factor is that you recall the financial year changed from 12 months to 9 months. Rather, the beginning of the financial year changed, and therefore the previous year ended with 9 months. And the cutoff point was March last year. And we also know that March is a period when most of the times, we have not started making income yet. It's still our lean period. We opened the market around April, May, thereabout. So when they had cut off the financial year, it meant that we were not still in the income generating period. So that is the reason. But otherwise, we're doing fine. Everything is okay. We performed very well. And in fact, all the statutory obligations that were mentioned here, none of them we have violated. All the statutory obligations we have made. So this is fine. Moving forward, we're also doing the same. If I may recall, it was around 65 million in the previous year, but then the following year, because of the change in the financial year, we got affected, and financial year ended at the time when we were not in the market yet.
Now, how is the government rating its entities? This is a question our journalist Taonga Sabola Nilongwe posed to Minister of Finance Sosten Gwengwe.
We are going to be signing a new performance management budget based, and would want to see those that have performed badly to pull up their success management wise and put in some controls within and deliver as we go into this new financial year. There were some that did not perform very well, like Blantyre Water Board. I think they had issues which our Treasury is working very closely with them to make sure that they turn around. But after all is said and done, I think some of them, it's all about tariffs, and government will be looking into this one, because we don't need to kill our utilities. We do need the water, we do need the electricity at a price which will give them more opportunity or chance to deliver better public services.
Now, for quite some time, the country has been advocating what it calls Buy Malawi in an attempt to ensure that we work towards import substitution. However, the gap between imports and exports remain relatively wide in favor of imports. Many local Malawians are pushing towards the drive of manufacturing to ensure that they make the most of the narrative, but more needs to be done. This is according to Reverend Clement Koma, who is one of the manufacturers of a number of products on the local market. He explains in this interview on what needs to be done if local products are to be as competitive.
Yeah, I think as we would say, a manufacturer, the market is still, the word is they are still used to foreign products coming. So when they see something, it says manufactured in Rimbi, we tend to think that it cannot be of good quality. So I think as a local manufacturer, we will need to work extra harder to create a name. And apart from that, I think quality is very important. Quality speaks for itself. So I don't think we should say buy Malawians while we're doing some cheap stuff. It should be a valid reason why they should buy from a Malawian. Yeah, so I could say that, yes.
Entering a market like that of Malawi is not as easy and straightforward. What are the main challenges that you may rate as challenges that you have encountered this far?
I think what happens in business is you have to make a decision quickly in business. My wife is she's the one who does manufacturing and operations. So me, I'm more of a strategist because I have a master's in business administration. So I like looking at how the business can go for a journey. So you find that many businesses, they only focus on manufacturing and they end up having too much stock which they have manufactured, not knowing that manufacturing alone is not business. You have to go out and you have to tell the people that this is what you're offering on the market. And the other thing is many businesses in Malawi, we start them with I have a lot of friends, they will buy from me. I have a lot of relatives, they will buy from me. I have learned that you cannot run a business based on your friends and relatives. They will surprise you. They have other convenient ways of buying things. So you need to reach the market. That's what I should say to people. No matter how small you are, in that small budget, there must be marketing. You need to be, we always say that people cannot guess what you're offering. So in Malawi, to spend money on marketing, we think we have lost. We like producing and we find that we are just keeping the stock. So I always tell my wife that 20% of our sales we have to do marketing. So I think many small businesses, that's why they are still where they are, because they haven't grown their market base. So it's a question of balancing. When the profits come, you must also prioritize marketing. I think that's one.
You may wish also to share your impression in as far as the operating environment is concerned. What's your take of the market, of the landscape as we speak now?
I would say that there are people who like good things, and I must say many Maoris they like very good things. So if you want to offer them something, it has to be really good. You cannot just offer them something and say, you know me, so you have to buy from me. Maybe they will buy the first time, but you find that I don't think they would come again because once they know that the quality is not good, they will go for what they are used to. The second thing is pricing. We're going through some financial hard patches in Malawi. So when you're pricing, I think you have to be considerate, more especially if you're a small business. You're competing with big guys. So you need to know how that will go market entry strategy. You go with very low margins. You make small profits, but mass sales. In that way, people are attracted to your product because of the price. But many people, they come to the market, they want to get rich the same night. So the margins, they put them high, but you find that people, they shy away from your products. So I think people at this moment in time, people, they are really struggling with finances. So you really have to consider the pricing so that people can be attracted to your new products. Yeah, and people like good things. So you really have to have good quality and also manage low pricing.
One of the key essential things in as far as production of commodities that you're selling, for example, is concerned is issue of standardization
Yes,
and quality, so to speak. We
yes,
have the Malawi Bureau of Standards, whose role is to ensure that every product that is produced on the market or even those that are ferrying into the country
yeah.
should meet particular required standards. What is your take in as far as adherence to standardization for local producers is concerned?
Yes, the products we are doing is in general we call them cleaning products. So they clean. We have toilet products, We have carpet, not carpet, but tiles cleaners. They call them pine gels, toilet cleaners. Then we also do these things like shampoo, hair shampoo, car wash shampoos. So it has to do with everything to do with cleaning. Yes, these are the products. Now, these products, there is no short way about it. You really have to you undergo a very strenuous process for them to be approved by the Malawi Bureau of Standards. This is one of the things that if you are serious with your business, you really have to go through it, no matter how harsh it is, no matter how many times they return you. And these guys, they are, if you don't understand business, you will think they are being harsh, but they are trying to maintain the quality of products in Malawi. So you undergo it, and the good thing is they tell you what to do. This is where you went wrong, go and do it this way. And my wife is somebody who has a bulldog mentality. She doesn't give up. So maybe they were returned several times until they got it right. So Malawi Bureau Standards, maybe some people will look at it as a police dog, but for me, I look at them as people who make you improve your quality. So they are our friends who help us to improve our qualities. So the process is very rigorous, but you have to really want to do the right things in the right way, then you will get it done.
We are speaking at a time when I would say Malawi is part of a signatory to so
Yes,
many agreements, regional and international
yes.
agreements, one of which is the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Mm,
Two schools of thought are always there. Number
yes,
one, the fear is Malawi could be seen in courts as a dumping site for many
yes,
imported products, or local producers like yourself would be
yes.
pushed to a corner
Mm,
as flooding of other
yes.
products would be entering into the market. What is your take?
I think what we need to do as Malawians is when we are approaching the market, we must approach it with a global perspective. The quality of our products, um, how we are reaching out to the market, all these things, you must have a global mindset. Nowadays, if you do things from a village mindset, your business will die. Me, I think it's an advantage. Actually, I was telling my wife that next year we must go to Zambia and see how we can penetrate Zambia. Because if we don't think like that, they will come and hit us at home, you see. So the best is to go out there and begin to export. So I think we must not be afraid. The issue is quality. They come with big money, they can advertise in billboards. Oh, of course they do. But I think if we can emphasize on quality, people will know that, you know what, it might be from Malawi, but it is the best quality around. So I think that's one of the things that my wife and I, we have focused so much that when somebody is a new buyer, because we don't operate on shops, our strategy is totally different. It's delivery. So when somebody buys us, we always tell them to give us feedback. We actually we force them. It's like they owe us money because we know that without receiving feedback, we will not improve. So the more we receive feedback, the more confident you become that, you know what, I think we can even compete on a global market. So I think the quality has to be there. Yeah, the quality has to be there, and we must look at things global. Even the packaging, it has to be global. You cannot package things like you want to sell at them on Limbe market. You must package your things that these things are going to compete on a global market. I think that's the approach we should do.
This is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And my name is William Kumwembe. Moving on with the program. The Malawi Agricultural and Industrial Investment Corporation, MIC, has said it is searching for an extra capital injection of about 40 million US dollars, which is about 42 billion kwacha, to boost its operations. This is according to Acting Chief Executive Officer Lloyd Banda, who caught up with our journalist Chimwemwe Mangazi.
Mike is a DFI that is non-deposit taking. Unlike banks that do get deposits and they lend the deposits that they get from customers, our capital is coming from the shareholders. So at the moment, we are operating with capital that we got, seed capital that we got from the initial shareholders, which is government and then CDH Investment Bank. But apart from this, we are also a participant or a company that is borrowing from the World Bank through the Finance project. So this is a window that we are using to provide concessional debts, which is basically cheap financing to various customers. You may wish to note that we are providing these loans at 10% per annum. But again, as Mike, apart from the Finesse project that is also providing us with financing, we have also gone out there to reach out to several private sector investors, including our own local pension funds that we have approached. So the expectation is that we should be able to raise additional capital from the private sector, including international financiers. So we've reached out to international DFIs and other private sector international financiers. So the expectation is that end of year 2023 or 2024, we should be able to raise additional capital that Mike should be able to use in its operations. Our targeted figure 2023-2024, for a start, we are actually targeting an equivalent of $40 million. In terms of performance of the company, we actually started lending early 2020 because Mike was established in 2018 but started operations in September 2019. Looking at our portfolio from 2020 to date, we've managed to grow our portfolio. Our loan book now stands at close to 7 billion. In terms of general performance of the company, in 2020 or in 2019, we made a loss because of pre-incorporation expenses. In 2020, we made a profit of about 200 million, and in 2021, we made a profit of about 500 million, 536 million. In 2022, we've closed with a profit of 722 million. So in terms of performance, we can say the institution is positively growing and actually performing well. As an institution, we do have some policies, some guidelines that we're using as an institution that are actually supporting the way we're supposed to operate as an institution. So it is at the back of these policies, the guidance that we do get from the board, and then the overall support that we're getting from the market, including our shareholders, that is actually key to this positive performance. Looking at this 7 billion portfolio, you're basically looking at over 70 projects that we have supported so far, overall from Nsanje to Chitipa. So Mike, as a DFI, is into supporting companies or businesses that are into value addition. So if you're looking at our portfolio as Mike, you will note that the projects that we do have are mostly those that are to do with industrialization. So our mandate as Mike basically is to support the country's vision, Malawi 2063. So what we are focusing on is financing companies that are into processing or value addition. So we are into various sectors, not only the agricultural sector. So all what we are focusing on is to ensure that the companies or projects that we are financing are supporting the country's industrialization. Right, so as Mike, we are supporting different types of businesses. So we are able to support startups, and we are also able to support those that are already operating. So all what is needed is to approach us, reach out to us if one has got a project, something that has got an element of value addition. So if you want to start a company, you want to be producing something, you want to be processing something, Mike is actually a financial institution that would be interested to look at you.
Now, in other business news, tax evasion is one of the major challenges that is threatening effectiveness and efficiency of the Malawi Revenue Authority. The country is losing billions of kwacha each year due to the vice. And the MRA says it has devised means through which it is going to address the problem. Our journalist Feston Malegezo from Zuzu reports.
One amendment in the Act demands all business people that export farm produce to export their goods through customs-controlled export warehouses. Speaking in Mzuzu during an engagement with traders in the northern region, MRA Taxpayer Education Manager Mahiza Pwaku Kawanga said countering smuggling could help the country realize more foreign currency. However, according to Kawanga, tobacco is exempted from the list of farm produce as it already has structured markets.
Yeah, we have put measures in place. For example, we have intensified awareness on the dangers of smuggling goods into or out of the country. But at the same time, as MRA, we are proposing to establish roadblocks at some strategic places to make sure that nobody illegally exports farm produce to other countries. We are not including tobacco because tobacco has already structured markets. Unlike other crops, we don't have structured markets. But if you look at tobacco, the structured market makes it possible for the country to generate foreign exchange. But if there are people who are smuggling tobacco to other countries, as MRA, we have measures to deal with them. As I've mentioned, we are going to establish roadblocks. So if anybody attempts to smuggle farm produce, including the tobacco that you have mentioned, we will catch them and punish in accordance with the law.
One of the traders, Kenneth Gondwe, said the act would ensure that Malawi foreign exchange reserves are enforced. Gondwe, however, expressed worry that some officials from the tax collecting body are in the forefront aiding people to evade tax-paying systems, asking the government to put in place stringent measures.
I think it's high time now that those people who are actually cutting down the corners, they need to wake up from their slumber because they actually I think irresponsible citizens in the sense that instead of them actually helping to generate foreign currency for the country, they're actually depriving that from the country. So I think this is a right time whereby as Malawians we need to be patriotic with our country. We need to show our Malawian in us by being the first to actually help the government to actually build the foreign reserve currency, which as a nation we are strengthening. So I think it's high time that these smugglers, they need to wake up from their slumber and actually help the country to build its foreign currency reserves.
Currently, the tax collecting body is engaging various traders across the country on the act as part of raising awareness.
Well, that report also brings us to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.